Trustees business meeting. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Should be a lively meeting tonight. Hopefully we are getting to the end of our Zoom meetings and we'll be able to go live in the future. But here we are one more time. And let's start with roll call. Joe Porcerelli.
Here, Grosse-Ile Township.
Thank you. David.
Present in Grosse-Ile Township.
Mike.
Present, Grosse-Ile Township.
Jameson.
I am present.
Okay. Udo Connor.
I am present in Grosse-Ile Township.
And Carl Bletcher.
Present, Grosse-Ile Township.
And I am present also in Grosse-Ile Township. Thank you very much. Additions, deletions.
Yes, I have one. Actually, Jim, I just lost the agenda. What I wanted to delete is, I believe it's action item number 2, which is the police chief
Appointment.
voting on the police chief tonight. It's action item number 2. I just lost my feed here on
That's
my
okay.
computer.
All right, so you want to delete action item number 2.
Yeah, and I'll explain after support.
Support.
Okay. We have a motion and a support.
I wanted to, oh, I'm sorry, Jim, you're going?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's time. Yeah, now, why do you want to
I wanted to delete this item due to a number of issues. First off, we were supposed to meet the whole board. We never got a chance to get face-to-face and actually meet. I don't believe that the round-robin phone calls really is adequate or appropriate in something of this magnitude. As you know, we had a grievance filed against the chief of police, and we need to talk about that grievance. We had an internal investigation sent to the state police. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about in a room, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, and get the answers out of this. And maybe we could come to a consensus that way for either individual, but we've never brought any of this up. Apparently there's a letter out there from the commission too, stating their findings, stating which individual. This was really not talked about. And again, I believe we were going to have a meeting. And did I lose the feed also for the video shut off on?
There you, yeah, you're back. Okay. You're back, Joe.
I apologize. Then we need to talk about the township manager's letter of recommendation. I have never seen a recommendation like this in my life. And all these issues are opening the door for litigation. This is something that we must look at risk management in the township. And I believe that we definitely need a face-to-face on this. You know, what really confused me is no one came to me. I have the most experience. You know, I can't say that about everything on this board. We've got some smart people on commissions and the board, but one thing I am an expert on is the police department, and no one can deny that. I've been with these two gentlemen, and I love them both. But the point is, no one came to me, no one asked me anything except Mr. Jarecki and Mr. Yeager about the past 20 years when I was there. So these things need to be talked about. Also, lastly, there was a 5-0 vote from the commission, and I really
don't get it now. Don't get this mixed up with the action item itself.
No, I'm not.
I'm debating the action item.
Because there was a 5-0 vote, we need to talk about that. If we're going to vote on this tonight, all these things together. I mean, there's a risk management, there's a litigation issue on this. There's all kinds of information that I don't think all of us know. All of us don't know what happened in the grievance. All of us don't know. And then part of the internal investigation is foiable, but we're still the township board, and we still have the ability to get these answers. But I don't think all of us know about it right now, and that's the reason why I think this should be, you want to call it tabled
This is just coming, this is, okay.
For a study session that we can look in each other's eyes, ask questions, and see, get some of these answers.
As I told you when you sent me the email, I have no problem with that if that's what the board wants to do.
Correct.
I assume you talked to the rest of the board?
I talked to the rest of the board? No, I didn't talk to the rest of the board because I was told we were going to have a whole board meeting, which never came to fruition.
Joe, you sent me an email and I responded to you explaining why we're not having the meeting. And I also told you if this is what the board wants to do, I'd be more than happy to do it. I have no problem with your request if that's what the board wants to do.
Correct. So, I agree.
So I would ask for input from the rest of the board members.
Correct. I get that.
Well,
Jameson, I think you were raising your hand.
Yeah, with the letter from the township manager, that raises some serious concerns. I mean, it talks about I don't even want to say it, but the police commission's political agenda, efforts to control the township board. It goes into grievances. I mean, it is concerning. To say the least. So I at least support Joe's opinion that we all need to sit down and talk about this because I'm concerned. So.
Yeah, I would obviously say that I'm extremely concerned. We've been through this before when we didn't listen to the commission. And we ended up paying a $200,000 legal bill over time, lost. I drive around today, and I had this conversation with Mr. Bletcher this morning. I drive down Meridian Road. I drive down Church Road. I drive down just about any road on Groseal. And the only thing I can think of, and I know, Derek, you're talking about your meeting tomorrow night earlier about Church Road and how we got to go about it cheap fix, the 5 to 6 year fix versus the permanent fix because we don't have any money. And the last thing in the world I want to do, and I've talked to some legal advice, I've gotten my own legal advice on this, and plus spent 35 years running businesses that have been subjected to employee lawsuits, and they cost a lot of money and they take a lot of time. And right now, I think we're looking 3 of them square in the face, 2 to 3, and that's not good. And I don't think any member of this community wants to spend or have a repeat of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars that we cannot afford over a lawsuit that should be avoided. So I strongly advocate Joe's position. And I don't think you haven't rushed into this yet. And right now, there's a lot of real unresolved problems. And I think we need to have a risk mitigation study session. And it's pretty much based upon this hiring of this position. And so that's my opinion.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Other members?
Joe, are you insinuating that if somebody is not elected chief tonight, or depending who is elected chief, that's automatically going to result in a lawsuit against the township?
I think there's. Is that me or Mike? I'm sorry, Dave.
Joe, Dave,
Joe.
who are you talking to? Joe.
Well, Joe, you made the motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not insinuating anything. What I'm saying is there's some issues that we definitely need to talk about. And depending upon which direction you go in from these issues, there could be issues. And Mr. Riem is on, no offense to Mr. Riem, but there's some issues in his recommendation. That's not a letter of recommendation. There's a lot more to that we need to talk about. We need to talk about the issues of the grievance and the internal investigation to the state police. We need to talk about how that was brought about. We need to talk about a lot of things, because can there be issues with litigation? Absolutely, Dave. You know that, absolutely. And this township hasn't done real well in the past, have they, in their lawsuits? Look, I'm a fiduciary trying to be of everybody, of 10,380 people of this township. And I don't want this coming to a lawsuit. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm saying we don't have the information to do such an important position. Now, I'm not going to say, please don't be offended any other managers, but this position is as important as any other positions. I'm not saying it's more, but it's as important. And we've got to do our due diligence, and we have to do what's correct and get all the information, so maybe we can come to consensus. This board doesn't seem to come to a consensus very often. Maybe we can all come as a group and say, yep, now we get it. Now we get why one wants one and one wants the other. But if we don't get together and look eye to eye with people, it doesn't work on the phone. It just doesn't work, and it doesn't work for me on the phone. It's just the way it is. So that's what I'm saying, Dave. Sure, there could be lawsuits. There's no doubt about it. It's already been brought up. But the point is, if we do what's correct, we can minimize this. We can try to mitigate this, but we still need to do what's right. We need to do the right thing. And that's my motion. And that's really the crux of my motion, to delete this and move it, not just delete it, move it to a study session so we can all get together and look across from each other and bring these issues out. So I hope that kind of helped you on that.
Well, I'm kind of, I understand the issues that you're bringing up. I'm not sure that I see why either one of those issues affects the vote on the chief.
Well, it affects the vote on the chief because none of us really know exactly what occurred, do we? Do you know what occurred in that grievance hearing? Do you know what occurred in that state police investigation?
I do
not. Do you know what occurred? What Dale's letter may, how it may infuriate someone or what it may make them do?
Yeah.
Do you know how? I'm just saying, I don't think we know these answers. How can you? We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know the answers.
Joe, let me just butt in. I do know what occurred, okay? Because I listened to both, and we had.
Well, and Mike, we don't want to go into that here.
And I'm not going to go into it.
That's not the purpose of the motion.
Jim, I'm not going to go into it.
Okay,
what I am saying is, based upon what I've seen, it scares the hell out of me. Okay, as a citizen of Groseal, this township, and like I said earlier, I've had a lot of experience with employee-based type lawsuits, and this is very concerning for anyone that has been involved in 15, 20, 30 of these things over the course of 30 years. And I don't think we're handling it properly. And I think we need to remove this. So anyway.
So
you guys want to force the vote? Go ahead. But man, I'll tell you what, let's
see if the other board members have anything to say. Uda or Carl? Are you good? Uda, if you're talking, you're on.
I know what's going on. I've talked to many different people, many different parties. I've been kept updated all along the way. Although I have not received a call from Mr. Porcerelli, Mr. Jarecki, or Mr. Yeager.
I sent you a text.
And so I'm just saying I feel comfortable going forward with a vote. I think we should have voted months ago.
But I didn't call you because I was told we were going to have a meeting. I could see you face to face and ask these questions. That's why it was simple.
And Uda, please check your text messages because I tried to text you to talk to this. In fact, I talked to Carl this morning for over an hour about it, and I was hoping to get you on the phone late last week or today. So, and I know you're working. I appreciate that, and you typically return these things. So I'm not holding it against you, but I did reach out. And Jim, I've talked to you numerous times about this. And Dave, I haven't really bothered to talk to you about it because you typically go the way Jim goes.
If all of you had your answers already.
You don't know that, Mike.
That was uncalled for. Let's not
I'm
do
just
that,
saying that's
please.
what
Let's not do that, please.
Well,
'cause we-
I don't think you want to start that kind of a discussion, Mike.
And
Well,
we're
I
not going
started
to,
it, Dave,
David
so-
and Mike, we're not going to have that kind of discussion.
Yeah.
Carl, do you have anything to say?
What does a meeting present that is different? If we're going to be talking about potential litigation, there's never a decision this board is going to make that does not have, at least in theory, the potential for litigation. I am unaware of anything that has been brought to my attention that says, hey, Carl, if we vote for Ken, we're going to have a lawsuit, or if we vote for Brent, we're going to have a lawsuit. As far as the grievance goes, the grievance is something that is in process before the police commission. The investigation by the Michigan State Police.
Carl, I'm sorry, we've got feedback. I can't hear what you're saying.
Ryan, can you mute whoever isn't on mute? We're getting a lot of feedback.
Let me see if I can find them.
Sorry, Carl, I just didn't want you to keep going if we couldn't hear you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, Carl, I think we got it.
All right. I'm not sure what part was heard, so I'm going to start with where does a meeting get us? We have a grievance that is before the commission. I don't think it would be appropriate for the township board to base its decision tonight on what could or could not come out of that grievance. If we're being told that if we appoint Ken Pelland as chief, then we have a lawsuit. If we're being told we appoint Brent Harden as chief, we have a lawsuit. If we go outside the department, I guess we have a lawsuit. At the end of the day, investigating the state police investigation does not result in anything positive for us or do due process to either any of the people involved. I hear lawsuits. I don't understand the basis for them. If there is something that has gone on that is board action that results in a lawsuit, then I think it would have been appropriate to bring that to the attention of the supervisor and bring it to the attention of even the township attorney. I don't see it. As far as the memo from Manager Ream, that's his opinion and he's entitled to his opinion. But I don't feel that that is determinative for me for anything. Everybody has an opinion, but if we're not going to do anything because we're afraid of lawsuits, then lady and gentlemen, you don't belong on this board.
Can I just ask you something? All of you have talked about you don't believe any of this is important. Are all 7 of you telling me, or 6 of you besides me, telling me you know everything that's occurred, but don't care if the grievance has some real issues with character, or the state police investigation has issues with character? Or what about anybody coming to me that has known these gentlemen? And I love them both. I love them both when I worked with them, but I've known them for 20-some years of their work history, yet none of you actually called me and said, tell me about their work history. What have they done for Grosse Ile and what have they not done for Grosse Ile? I'm just stunned. First off, we didn't meet. Second off, no one would call the person that has the most experience. And as again, I stated, I want to know how my toilets flush. I'm going to Derek. I don't get it.
Well, Joe, Joe, I was just going to say, you're a board trustee that's going to be voting on this. If you, and of course, you wrote a letter of recommendation before this even started. So I think everybody probably figured your position on everything.
Well,
but so you are not the one. I don't believe you're the one to go to.
Yeah,
they should have been going to. They should have been going to the township manager, and nobody went to the township manager.
Maybe there's a reason. The township manager shown in his past. Maybe it's the same thing, right?
And we're getting off base here. Well, but we understand why you're bringing it forward.
Okay.
Everybody's spoken. I believe we should vote on this.
Okay.
And I haven't said anything, but let me say this. I believe if there's people on this board who feel that meeting will add something, we've been doing fine with the interim chief. It's not, there is not a rush to duty here to get this done necessarily today. We've been doing fine with the situation as it is. In fact, if we do have this meeting, people, I believe tomorrow is the day that the grievance has to be answered. So that would be information that we would have.
Correct.
As far as the investigation, we don't have the results of that investigation. However, the incident happened, and this is one of the reasons that it's taken this long to come to the board, is we started out with, and I told the commission, we're not going to act on police chief until we get our budget, because we had a lot of budget problems. We had big deficits we had to look at. And of course, the police are a big part of the general fund, so they were part of that. Before we got through getting the budget done, an incident happened which caused an investigation by the third party, being the state police. That investigation has not concluded yet. We have not gotten an answer on it. However, in talking to the Wayne County prosecutor, she's telling me that chances are we won't see a resolution of that until maybe in September. And I didn't think we needed to wait that long. As much as I would like an answer to that, because it just makes things cleaner, I also didn't feel that we could wait until September or longer for an answer. So we put it on here. I have no problem sitting down and talking with people. The only thing that bothers me is that it's this last minute, that this was never brought up until the end of last week. And then, as I said, talk to the board. If the board wants to do it, that's fine. So I'm a little saddened by the fact that it came up so late. Everybody had all this time to be talking about this. But other than that, if it makes things clearer for some people, I'm not going to have a problem with it.
Hey, I know I spoke. I just wanted to point out my concern is with this letter of recommendation. It says the township board has been made aware.
Jameson, we're not going to get into that.
That's what's concerning me.
Well, I understand.
Apparently, the police commission is
Jameson,
manipulating and controlling the board, and I haven't been made aware of that.
Jameson, that's the discussion we will have. That's the discussion we will have on that when that properly comes up. Right now, what we're dealing with is whether we should go forward on issue number 2. That's what the motion is. That's what we need to deal with. We understand everybody's concerns. Uda, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, and I probably should have jumped in half an hour ago. A lot of things that Trustee Porcelli, Jarecki, Yeager have brought up that we've also discussed now in some depth are things that I think really have no place being discussed in a public meeting right now. And I just confirmed with our attorney that we should not be discussing these various cases. And, we have absolutely destroyed confidentiality of several employees. This has gone way too far. I am just really hoping we can pull this back into a vote on whether or not to keep this item on the agenda and not go any further into these other conversations that have no place at this time.
Just so you know, I'd like to advise the clerk of our township that these issues are all FOIA-able right now and have been FOIA'd. They've been FOIA'd, Tom. Yes, they have. There's information already out there. So all I did is bring up what the topic is. I didn't go into what it was about because I don't know what it's about. But it has been FOIA'd, both issues. So the clerk's office needs to know that. And if you don't know that, I'm sorry.
Mr. Porcelli, I know that, but do we discuss this in front of a public meeting?
It is
It's
public.
foiable,
It's
and
public.
I didn't get into what it is. The topic is foiable.
And that's the issue is do we keep action item number 2 on, or do we move it off? And I think everything's been said on this.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get into anybody arguing here. That's not our purpose. So
I didn't mean to argue. I just wanted to correct.
I would call the vote.
This person about the police department, you should wonder about if I know what's going on in the legal end.
Joe, come on,
Yeah.
let's
Okay,
get to a vote on your motion. Motion's been made to delete action item number 2. And I will go through roll call vote. Nobody supported. Starting with Jameson.
Jim, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Oh, you're okay. That's an aye. Jameson, I didn't hear you.
I voted aye, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. David?
Aye.
David's an aye. Uda?
Yeah, I don't want to be threatened by board colleagues with lawsuits. I want to have a face-to-face discussion with all of these people. But I think it should at first be a board-only meeting because this is definitely a personnel matter.
Uda, we're not discussing the issue. We are having is that an aye? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm sorry, Jim. Aye.
Thank you. Carl?
Aye.
Who am I missing? Joe?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Action item number 2 will be deleted from the agenda. And Joe, we will have a meeting. And we may try and do a special meeting rather than waiting until next, our next board.
So you'll set that up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Let's.
Mr. Supervisor, though, if it's a special meeting, we got to make sure that we notice it, that we have the capacity for people to attend, and that everybody is present, because if they aren't, then we can't make any votes.
If we don't have a quorum. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Do we have any other additions or deletions?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. I have 2 slightly less contentious issues too.
Okay.
Hopefully add.
Okay, and Jameson, make sure you do one at a time. So we vote.
Yes, sir.
We do one, we vote on it, and then the second one.
Okay. I hereby motion to add a motion to return to 2 meetings in the month of August and November. Both of those months only have 1 meeting that month. And that is in response to significant public concern that's been expressed to me about them being able to address us twice a month and not necessarily just us be able to vote or address them. So that's my motion.
Okay, and I support that. You've kind of given your reasoning for it. Any discussion? Any discussion? Again, somebody's got their, doesn't have their phone on mute.
It might be me. There's people in the room.
Oh, okay. We're hearing somebody else talking. Yep. Not hearing any other discussion? We will vote. Joe?
Joe? You're on mute, Joe.
I muted because of that. Aye. I'm sorry.
You're an aye for adding that. David?
No.
A nay. Carl?
Nay.
Mike,
Aye.
Jameson,
Aye.
Uda.
Nay.
And I vote aye, so that we can discuss this. So that will be added. It will be action item number 4.
I think it's action item number 5, Jim.
I
Yeah,
don't
Jim.
think so.
Jim,
I
it would
don't
be
think
number.
so. Oh, yes, you are correct. You are correct. 4 on mine is already taken off. So I only have 3 on my agenda that I have, but you're right. So that'll be action item number 5. And Jameson, your second one.
So I motion that we add a motion to discuss the submission of a letter to Congresswoman Dingell, Senators Stabenow and Peters, State Congressman Camilleri, and State Senator Chang, requesting consideration in their upcoming infrastructure bills to completely or replace or repair the Parkway Bridge. And I prepared a letter and emailed it to the board members.
Thank you. Do I have a support?
I'll support.
David supports.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you any discussion by anybody? I think it's pretty clear cut what Jameson is asking for.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of consideration for infrastructure funding right now in DC and in Lansing. I spoke to Congressman
Jameson. That discussion comes when we do the action item, not to add it.
Fair enough.
That's fine. Thank you. Just hold on. Any other discussion on that?
Hey, it's important to all of us. So it'd be great. And like you said, timing's of the essence. So I support it completely. We can't wait.
Anything else? If not, this is letter 2. Okay, not hearing anything else, we'll vote. Mr. Jarecki.
Aye.
Mr. Porcerelli.
Aye.
Mr. Yeager.
Aye.
Mr. Nadeau.
Aye.
Mr. Fletcher.
Pleased to support aye.
And Ms. O'Connor.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that will be added. That will be action item number 6.
Thank you,
If
board.
I have my math correct. Any other additions or deletions?
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, Mr. Nadeau.
move to delete consent agenda number 2, check register dated through July 9th.
And I'll support that.
And the reason is there were no checks cut.
That'll be a good reason not to have it. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. Mr. Nadeau.
Aye.
Mr. Fletcher.
Aye.
Ms. O'Connor.
Aye.
Mr. Jarecki.
Aye.
Mr. Yeager.
Aye.
Mr. Porcerelli.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Also, consent agenda number 2 is deleted. Anything else, Mr.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to delete action item number 4, dangerous structure hearing and order.
Okay. Is there a support?
Support.
Okay, we have plenty of support there. Go ahead, Dave.
It's very simple that particular issue is being resolved through the DPS department or community development without need for board interaction.
Okay. Anybody else need any more or want to say anything more on that? Hearing none. Mr. Fletcher.
Aye.
Ms. O'Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Yeager,
Aye.
Mr. Porcerelli,
Aye.
Mr. Jarecki,
Aye.
Mr. Nadu,
Aye.
and I vote aye also. So action item number 4 is deleted. So in summary, what we've done, we have deleted action item number 2 and number 4. We have added action number 5 and number 6. And we have deleted consent agenda item number 2. And with that, I would ask for approval of the agenda as amended.
Move to approve.
Support.
I could,
Oh,
okay. Was that, I couldn't hear you, Carl.
Tim, I moved.
Okay, you moved.
Yes,
We
sir.
had a support.
support. Aye.
Thank you, Joe. So, approval of the agenda. Mr. Yeager,
You're on mute. Jameson,
Jameson.
mute.
All right, let me start with Mr. Jarecki then.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Mr. Port. Okay, that was. Thank you, Jameson. Joe.
Sorry, I was trying to relocate.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, aye.
Okay, Carl.
Aye.
Uda.
Aye.
David.
Aye.
And I vote aye. So we have an approval of our agenda. With that, we'll move into the consent agenda.
Okay. This time, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 21-025, which includes the following items: minutes of the June 14th, 2021 regular meeting of the board. Check registers are gone. Approval to process and distribute payments through July 30th, 2021. Authorization to create an eligibility list for a police clerk dispatcher. Stormwater system maintenance agreement with Pirates Cove Storage. Accept the 33rd Judicial District Court financial report for December 31, 2020. An addendum for the interlocal agreement for shared information network consortium, and Elba Drive fireworks display.
Support. Discussion.
Jim, I have a question with consent agenda item number 4 is to create an eligibility list for police clerk dispatcher, and yet action item number 1 is approval to hire a clerk dispatcher.
That is
Do we
correct.
have a second retirement coming up?
A new position.
It's a new position.
Okay.
They feel that they need this, so it is. They're two separate things.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other comments?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, Mike.
And correct me if I'm out of line on this, but on the Elba Island fireworks, I
Yes.
noticed that when I looked at the resolution, it states a beginning time of dusk, which is about 9:45 p.m., but it doesn't state an ending time. I'm just wondering, obviously people don't want that going on until 12 midnight, for example. And I don't want to hold it up, but does anybody have an understanding of what their intent was in terms of the fireworks shutting off? Because if we don't, we're probably going to have a very busy police department potentially that evening with complaints. If I know the residents of Elba Island. And so can we put a cutoff on it? 9:43, 10:40, 11 o'clock?
And I'm going to ask Dale, can we go back to, can we approve this with the, with a cutoff and go back to them, or how does that usually work?
Well, I would just, it's a 500 shell display that's probably going to take about 25 or 30 minutes once it starts.
Right.
So we can put 10:30 on it.
And Dale, I'm not suggesting we gotta give them some margin for error, but can we call it like 10:45 or 11 o'clock? Because things sometimes just don't start. You know what I mean? Is that fair?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so we'll call it 11. And then
If that's gonna, let's go 11. Is 11 o'clock good with everybody? And we'll have have this state in here, to conclude by 11 o'clock. How's that?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Other questions? Hearing none.
No, didn't we? Can we do this even though we've already voted for it? Didn't we approve the consent agenda?
Yes, we have. You are correct. We have.
Mr. Sorty, do we have to go back and make amendments, or are we fine?
Can we just let them know? Because I don't know that within their paperwork there's any starter on anybody's a starter finish time. The starting at dusk was mentioned in the history on that, not in
the agreement, and it has a 10 o'clock start time. There is a 10 o'clock start time in the materials, but there is no end time.
That's what I thought, because that's pretty traditional, but I didn't copy it, so I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, it was
500
500 shells.
Yeah,
Tom, I'm probably looking at 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
Tom, do we have to, I mean, we've approved the consent agenda, which includes that. Is there anything to stop us from talking to them and
No.
having an end time?
No.
Okay. Dale, can you take care of that for us? Thank you. Okay. Moving on right along. Well, I did it again. Uda, you didn't catch me. Public comment. Okay, public comment. Just a minute, Bill. I see you waving. Hi. Public comment, please state your name and your address where you live. 3 minutes. Brian,
Yes, I'm here somewhere.
open it up
There's a
to
lot
you.
of people on here. Yes, so make sure you just give me either a physical wave or use the wave function on your Zoom meeting. And I will start with
I'm going to start with Bill because
Bill,
I know
Bill,
he
who
waved.
actually has his name right this time. So let's go with Bill this time.
All right, Bill, fire away. Get off mute.
Got to unmute.
Got
Bill.
to unmute, Bill, although you sound pretty good on mute. There you go.
Brian, you're sticking it to me because I used my wife's computer last time. Thank you. Two things, basically, and I'll try to be brief with both. First of all, I'd like to commend you for postponing a final decision on this issue with the promotion. There are some sincere concerns, and you all, in making decisions, are concerned about what's best for this community. And so when no stone is left unturned in a decision-making process, that's to the good. And we don't have an immediate need to have a change in the next week or two. Progress on this might come up with an amelioration to the circumstance that would prove beneficial to us all. The second point is that I'd like to just suggest that you approve the the resolution you have for the Restoration Advisory Board. That would benefit us, and I think that that's something that would serve us well. And then those are my comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Kate Kirschner, is that correct?
That is correct. Good evening.
Kate, can't hear you. Now you're back on mute.
Yeah, you were unmuted before. It was just very quiet.
Very, very faint. Yeah, I can't. Do you have a volume control? Kate, what I'm going to do is you try and figure out your volume, because we can't hear a word you're saying. We will come back to you. All right.
Okay, let's move on to Judy Mega.
Ms. Mega, good evening.
There, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. 8259 participants. I thought I was in the wrong meeting for a minute. But anyway, it's good to see you all. I have a couple of comments. One apparently now is going to be an agenda item, so I'll save that for later on your meeting schedule.
Yes.
There's an environmental town hall July 13th via Zoom that Debbie Dingle is holding.
Yes.
And I know someone from the township's going to be there. I encourage as many residents as possible to attend as well.
Judy, can you either turn on either your television or computer is giving us feedback from you talking twice?
Okay, I'm hearing you twice. Okay, is it still happening?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good now.
I think it was my computer audio. But anyway, if many residents as possible should attend. The EPA is going to be there. Eagle's going to be there. They're going to be giving updates on the Detroit River sediment study that's been taking place. And now is the time that the big cleanup is done. So McLeod representatives will be there. This is the time for people to speak up and say what we want and what we don't want. Whether they're going to listen or not, pretty soon we're not going to have a chance to say anything anymore. There's also a community advisory group meeting on July 22nd at the Trenton Town Hall at 6:30. It's also going to be via Zoom if you don't feel comfortable going in person. That is going to have a McLeod representative there as well, and representatives of most of the mayors of the local towns. And I don't know if somebody from the township is going to be at that or not on July 22nd, but if not, it would be advisable if somebody could go, because that's another important update. And I just want, yes.
Judy, did you say that meeting was at their meeting, their meeting center there by the library?
Yes, yeah, the Trenton City Hall on July 22nd at 6:30. We only meet quarterly now. I'm a member of that CAG, and this is the first one that we've done in person in obviously over 18 months. And so I think it's kind of a big one and kind of an important one. So if people can show up either via Zoom or in person, that would be amazing. And then I just wondered at one point, in one of the meetings, can we get an update on the progress of the educational program of letting the citizens know about our basic life support and the cards to fill out that are available and so on, and what's going on with that?
I will make note of that and talk to the people in charge, and we will get something on that for you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
That first meeting again, Judy. That first meeting, what was the date?
The first meeting is July 13th at 7 p.m., I believe it is. But that is via Zoom only, and the information on that is on Debbie Dingle's Facebook page. But she has quite a few people attending that one.
The township does have a representative attending.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Kate, are you set there?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Perfect.
We can put a voice with a face now.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you? Go
Great.
ahead.
Evening. My name is Kate Kirshner. I would save this for the next meeting. However, I do live in Maryland, so I would like to say this now. I grew up in Groseal, moved to Maryland where I am currently a Montgomery County police officer. I am a 1998 DARE graduate taught by Lieutenant Felland. I would like to read part of a letter I wrote to him in 2009. Detective Felland, thank you for the opportunity to speak at the DARE graduation this year. I can remember sitting in DARE class and deciding that I wanted to fight these things called drugs that we were learning about. Even in 5th grade, I saw how much of your heart you put into your job, and early on, I realized that's exactly what I wanted to do too. I want to assure you that you have influenced more people than you realize. Not everyone is going to tell the world that DARE has positively impacted them so obnoxiously and frequently as I do. Believe me when I say you have made a difference. Thank you for introducing me to the Woodhaven Police Explorers. The program shaped my youth and prepared me for a law enforcement career. I wanted to write you this letter to properly thank you and hopefully help you realize the extent to which you have had a positive influence on me as well as thousands of students you interact with. Your dedication to law enforcement has always motivated me and will continue to do so. I was happy to hear Lieutenant Felland was recommended to be Chief of Police. Since 5th grade, he has been the embodiment of the officer I strive to be. For the past 23 years of my life, he has taught by example how to have the highest level of integrity, and he has shown exceptional motivation to help others. If appointed, the residents of Groseal and members of the police department will have an outstanding leader. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kate, and have a safe trip back to Maryland, and thank you for finally being able to say that to us.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to give us some public comment tonight? All right, Jason Tackett.
Oh.
Hello, can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening. Thanks for your time. Appreciate your work. I just want to reiterate the importance of the letter that I believe Jamison Yeager put forward. I think this is the right time. It's an important time to continue to put a spotlight on this bridge and fix it right the first time. And it looks like there are certain piers that need to be repaired and aren't being repaired today, which then also brings me to my second point of an independent bridge inspector. I think those two things together are going to be really important in the future. And then third, I recommend that in-person meetings with the option for residents to attend via Zoom. I think in-person is important for dialogue like this. Those are my 3 comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, we hope to get back. We certainly hope to get back to in-person meetings. We're just reviewing the guidelines. We want to make sure. One of the problems we have is if we call an in-person meeting and too many people show up, we don't have the option of sending them away. We have to cancel the whole meeting. So we want to make sure we just know as these requirements have been changing of late, we want to make sure we're on the same page with that. So we will be back to in-person soon. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else who would like to give us public comment tonight?
Yes,
John Sabat.
No.
That's it. Get her out of here. Get her out of here. Get her out of here now.
Hurry up, he's gonna be on the meeting. You'll be screaming in the background.
John, you wanna mute for a minute there? John, we're going to come back to you. Is there anybody else?
Greg Karmazin. You'll have to unmute yourself, Greg.
Of course.
There you are. Hi, Greg.
Virtual meetings, right?
Yeah.
Greg Karmazin, resident of Macomb County, taxpayer, homeowner on Groseal, 21228 East River Road. A couple topics I wanted to mention. One on the virtual meetings, which we're all struggling with still. I've done some research on that, and as far as I can tell from the state of Michigan's standpoint, there are no restrictions on public meetings anymore. So I would encourage you to have your legal counsel take a good look at the rescission of the state's orders of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, that as of June 22nd, there no longer are any restrictions on public meetings. And in fact, this issue has come up in a number of public bodies. I've talked to an attorney that's very familiar about municipal law about this. And in fact, I think you need to take a closer look at that. Also, I wanted to make a couple other comments. The RAB, the Restoration Advisory Board, I think it's a great idea. Totally support that. Meeting twice a month. I think you've got a lot on your agenda. I've looked into when the board has met in the past, and during the summer months, it is true that occasionally they've skipped a month. But I think given what's going on, it really is important to hear from the managers and to hear from the residents as well. Topics like the bridge, we'd like to hear more updates on that. So meeting twice a month, I think, is a great idea. I'd like to follow up on Judy's comments about the Congresswoman Dingell's meeting on the waterfront and the community advisory group meeting, EPA on the McLeod side. Both of those are very important meetings, and I think residents really need to pay attention to what's going on over on the McLeod site. The Grosse Ile is definitely going to be affected by what happens on that site. So we got to pay attention to it. We got to understand it, and we got to get involved. I'm also a member of the CAG for as a representative of the Grosse Ile Civic Association. Also on the bridge, I applaud Jameson Yeager on his motion. You're absolutely right. I mean, having served as a congressional staffer, I can assure you that unless you ask, you do not get. And it's time for this township to start fighting for funding for that bridge and not relying entirely on Wayne County. And on that point, I've done a little research on those piers, and I obtained through a Freedom of Information Act the underwater inspection from November of 2020. I'm in the process of going through it with an engineer, and I'm going to make it public. Okay, so I can tell you already from my non-engineer knowledge, there are serious problems with those 5 piers that the county is not doing any work on, and we got to take a look at that.
Greg, I'm going to just ask you to wrap up. You're over your 3.
Oh, well, okay, and just the final thing, did a little research. I got friends in Trenton and Riverview that are concerned about of course, the expansion of the Riverview landfill. And I was brought to my attention by friends in Trenton that Grosse Ile has taken a position on the Riverview landfill expansion. And I actually have now a copy of a letter that Supervisor Budney sent to Wayne County endorsing the expansion of the landfill.
That is my personal, not the townships, not the boards, not the boards.
Well, just understand that Riverview is using your letter as an expression of Grosse Ile's support of the.
Would you do me a favor, Greg, and send me where I can find that, because I'll have a discussion with Mayor Swift on that and get that corrected.
Okay.
That should be me and me alone.
I'll do that later tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
Those are my comments. Thank you for the additional time.
Yep. Thank you. John, are you ready?
Yes, thank you very much. My apologies to all.
That's okay. Go ahead.
My daughter wanted to say something. Anyway, the reason I'm talking to you here, Supervisor, and everybody, the citizens of this city, township, is that the toll bridge issue is out of control and should be under control by us, since we're the recipients of the bumpy roads, dangerous roads. And I'm asking you, Supervisor, to talk to Grosse Ile, talk to Riverview, talk to Wayne County, and do something about the right side of the exit past the toll, which is on Riverview property. You can also put another line to make it 2 lanes, as Paul Smoke offered to do in 2006, or Mr. Carmazan, when was that, 2006 or 2007, somewhere around there? He wanted
sometime previously.
Yeah. The point here is we're not doing anything about it. I mean, I haven't gone to the police. I told them I'm ready to put some gravel out there on my own, probably get arrested. And I was ready to hire an asphalt company that does lines, to do a line at 2 or 3 in the morning. And the police knows my feelings. I think we should really stand up and do something about it on our own, or get someone to do something. It sounds like Riverview really doesn't care. Is that right, Mr. Carmazan?
That we're not having discussions back and forth with other people here, John. It's
well, I got 3 minutes. Thank you. So I appreciate the extra 10, 20 seconds now. As far as the situation with this, what are you doing about improving the roads off the island past the toll so we can make the right turns going northbound and compromise our citizens with an ambulance situation or a police situation? Those 2 points alone should warrant us, the township, to move forward and do something about improving that road on the other side. I'm sure Mr. Smoke will welcome your presence there. Is there a reason why we haven't corrected all those bumps and holes? I sent Brian a whole bunch of pictures.
John, this is not a discussion. This is a comment. Please.
Well, I'm making a comment.
It's a comment.
Excuse me, Mr. Bundy. I am making a comment.
Well, good.
I'm asking you to make forward motion to do something about this. Are you willing to do something about this?
I've already done it.
You've done it.
It's already there were in discussions with Wayne County about that.
You don't need Wayne County to do this. You just need our citizens to stand up and do something about it.
Well,
I mean, why
that's
don't
your opinion, and that's wonderful, John.
In my opinion, I think everybody in here, all 59 people and the trustees will all agree that we need to do something now, not tomorrow. And, you know, you're mentioning about tomorrow doing something. What happened to doing something about it before it happened, before we closed the bridge and spring up on top of the toll bridge? We have a situation, Meridian is a mess. We got bumps everywhere on West River. I mean, we haven't done anything like this. We need to move forward.
Thank you, John.
Talk is cheap, Supervisor. We need your help.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Brian?
Okay, Scott Longton.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Dave, do you have a comment?
I know
John,
Scott's been trying
wait a minute,
to
David, we're not going back and forth making comments on what people comment on. We don't want to get into that, please.
No, I was just pointing out that Mr. Longton's been trying to get in. So.
Oh, yeah, I've got him. Scott Longton, you're up.
Thank you. I thought I was raising my hand, but apparently I was hitting the clap button because it's so small at the bottom of the screen, and it kept going away.
Evening, Scott.
Am I up next? So
you're on, sir.
Scott Longton, Groseville Police Commission. I wanted to point out that I'm very concerned that history is repeating itself. About 2 years ago, I offered my services to try to bridge the gap between the board and the commission and the police department, and put aside all of the personal vendettas and issues that are out there. And unfortunately, I was not taken up on that offer. And some could say that things are either they're not any better or they're actually getting worse at this point. And it's concerning because you have 3 new commissioners, myself included, who are not present and not part of the original chief of police issue when retired Chief Warnick was appointed. So you have 3 police commissioners who were not present during that time. And so again, I offer my services to try to have a sit down and a round robin so that we can discuss all the issues that are going on with the commission, the police department, the chief issues. There's a number of other issues that we can't discuss on public record and public meeting. There's letters that are being written that need to be discussed outside of the public eye because I don't believe that it is appropriate for an open meeting act. And, I have these concerns. I tried to reach out to a number of you, some a few weeks ago, some last week, some of you last minute as of this evening, right immediately prior to the meeting, to try to put together this round robin for all of us. Some of you I don't have cell phone numbers for. And I did all of this over the last 2 weeks while I've been on vacation trying to make this happen. So again, I just would ask that everybody, put down their defense and let's sit down, because there's some real issues going on with this township that I think a lot of the board members don't fully understand or don't know really both sides of the story. And if somebody's not fully informed of what's going on both sides, that's problematic, and the township board can't make the right decisions for the township that would be in the township's best interest. And this has nothing to do with an individual or a me or an I. It is the majority of it's the township that the board has a duty to, and it's the township that the commission and the police department has a duty to. It's not a personal duty to myself. It's not a personal duty to any one of you, but it's a duty to the township. So again, I ask that we have that round robin and that sit down so that we can discuss all of these issues that are going on, because if not, things are going to continue to get worse. And I don't see an end if we don't really sit down and address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. In fact, will you be available tomorrow?
I will make myself available.
I will talk to you about this tomorrow, because yes, there's a plan going forward.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Ryan.
Okay. Do we have any other public comment this evening? Kevin's iPhone.
You're on mute, Kevin.
There we go. This is Kevin Flavin, Grosville.
Good evening, Kevin.
Park Lane. Good evening. I'd like to reiterate my support for Lieutenant Pellin for the chief's job. As I was over the weekend, I spent some time with folks that are in college, graduating from college, and they all had a smile and positive comments about Lieutenant Pellin and his safety town that they had when they were in school here on Grosville, his DARE program. And I asked residents to take a look at Grosville Grand, dated July 12th. It's the most recent one. And Lieutenant Pellin has been is doing some of the most progressive policing that I see anywhere. He's Hope Not Handcuffs is the kind of program that we're seeing in federal courts, local and township courts, state, city courts, where they're trying to take people that have an illness, addiction, and not put them into the police system, or they're putting them into healthcare so that they can get treatment for their illness rather than punitive lockup. That's the kind of police chief that I would like to see in my neighborhood. A police chief who has ice cream certificates for kids that wear their helmet while they're riding around the island, a man that has care for individuals who have illness. That's progressive, that's smart, and that's really the human way to do things. So Ken Pellin really is a good person who should have all of our support. I'd also like to say thank you very much to Trustees Yeager, Porcerelli, and Jarecki for putting all of this information into the public sphere, where we as taxpayers and residents can find out what the heck is going on at Township Hall. There's no information coming out on a regular basis, and that's unfortunate. I think that these three people have bent over backwards to put this kind of thing out, so that we have that they're doing their fiduciary responsibilities to taking their taxpayer seriously, making the township government transparent, open, and I think more honest. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, iPhone user. Not sure who that is.
Brian, is that me?
Whoever that is, yes.
It's Tom Snyder, 8448 Rucker.
Got it. Yes, you are up.
All right, sorry. I've been listening to a lot of the comments over an extended period of time, and I appreciate that everybody is allowed to have an opinion. I will tell you that one of the things that I appreciate what has gone on since our new chief has been involved in the last 6.5 months is that we've had more open communication with regards to the police department, with regards to the meetings acts. He has had the reports that he has given us have been far more detailed and far more progressive than that I think I've ever seen in years. One of the things that I have a problem with the police commission, and I know Mr. Longton made it very clear that he's looking for some support with regards to getting the two sides together, whatever that means. But I will tell you, I have some major issues when it comes to Open Meetings Act. I know in the past, some of the folks on the police commission have not been looking forward to having all of their meetings in public. I consider that very important, considering that the last meeting, within 35 or 40 minutes of the meeting being broadcast, there was a motion to go into a closed session, which is odd considering I believe you need at least 24 hours to go into closed session. Brian, I'll have you comment on that, as opposed to announcing at the meeting to go into closed session. There have been a lot of things that have come up to that, and I continue to hope that there'll be openness with regards to how the commission acts to the public, and not worry necessarily about what's happening with the township. There are many things that need to be addressed, and I hope that openness and communication with that commission as well as the township is going to continue. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Suzanne Sasek.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for giving me this couple of moments. I'll try to be brief. I just wanted to say I've had the honor of knowing Ken Pellin for the past 20 years, both personally for private family matters and professionally when working with Groseal Township schools. And during this time, I've seen his dedication and devotion to our community and his willingness to go above and beyond the basic requirements of his job. Lieutenant Pellin has been a valued support system for Groseal Township schools. He's fully engaged in school safety issues, student discipline, and community education. I found him to be dependable, honest, and equitable while always maintaining a professional presence. He has actively worked to build trusting relationships with various superintendents and administrators throughout the years, and this demonstrates his committed loyalty to the school district and to the community as a whole. Groseal Township Schools has worked diligently under former Chief of Police Joe Porcerelli to create a collaborative working relationship with our police department. Although I feel that this has been stifled slightly since Joe's retirement, I believe that Lieutenant Pellin will work to rebuild this relationship and continue to foster it throughout the coming years. I realize that the position of Groseal Police Chief has many facets that extend beyond the chief and community interactions and that of the school district, but I feel confident that Lieutenant Pellin has the necessary skills to learn all aspects of the job while continuing to be the face of the Groseal Police Department. And I'm glad that the board has decided to meet for a full board discussion. The transparency of this decision is crucial since it protects individuals from personal vendettas, ensures backdoor deals are not made, and guarantees that each board member has access to the views of all board members during discussions. If there is not support for this police commission's recommendation, I hope that specific board members will state what about this process has been flawed and detail why they cannot support this recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other public comment tonight? I am not seeing, oh, Kathy Walker.
Hello?
Hi, Kathy.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Listen, I just wanted to thank you guys for going back to real meetings. I hate these Zoom meetings. I don't know about you, but I think it's great that you're going to start doing them for the next meeting. So I just wanted to thank you guys for doing that, and I'll be watching the meeting and enjoying myself. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Good night. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, do we have any other public comments?
No, 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 no.
I guess Kevin Flavin, you've already gone, Mr. Flavin, haven't you?
No, this is actually Maureen Flavin.
Got it. Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
That's okay. I just wanted to thank the board for taking off agenda item number 2. I was listening in my car, so I don't have anything written, but I wanted to say that one of the issues, you talked about being sued, and I think it was somebody said, why would we get sued? What would the claim be? I've been in employment and policy and procedure management for years, 25 plus years. And I want to say that if you don't do this carefully, you could have a retaliation suit. Somebody could sue you saying you didn't pick me because I filed a grievance. So you really want to make sure that you sit down and go through all of the scenarios, and you want to work your hardest to keep yourself out of court. That's always the goal. So I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with each other to work through all the issues. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other public comment tonight? I think we're ready to move on. You're muted, Jim.
Here we go. Yeah, it goes off and it doesn't tell me I'm muted. So sorry about that. Thank you, everybody, for your public comment. We appreciate it. Thank you. What do we have? 58 people here. Not, of course, some of us not residents. We're board members, but we have a good turnout tonight. So thank you. Action item number 1. Mike Jarecki, if you will, please.
Okay. Approval to hire a clerk dispatcher. Upon recommendation of the Grosse Ile Police Commission, we ask Township Board approval to hire Justina Erd as a clerk dispatcher with the Grosse Ile Township Police Department effective July 26, 2021. History and purpose.
Hang on.
Oh, yes, sir.
Support? Do I have a support?
Support.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Upon recommendation of the Grosse Ile Police Commission, we ask Township Board approval to hire Miss Justina Erd as clerk dispatcher with Grosse Ile Township Police Department effective July 26, 2021. This hiring is contingent upon passing an extended background check, employment, physical, and psychological testing. Ms. Erd will be hired under the 2-tier retirement system. It would have 1-year probationary period. Ms. Erd does have dispatcher experience, approximately 9 months, and is replacing Miss Bennett, who recently retired from the department. Couple side notes right now, when you're missing a dispatcher who, starting pay is around $16 an hour. If you have a regular officer fill in at 28, we got like a 75% increase in cost. And more importantly, we lose a 33% response rate to issues out in the field. So, because we're missing that officer. And then again, if they do it by overtime, it's a 162% increase in cost. So, makes good business sense and makes good sense for the community.
Thank you, Mike. Any other comments? I think it's fairly straightforward action item. Not hearing any. We have a motion before us upon the recommendation of the Groseal Police Commission. We ask the Township Board approval to hire Miss Justina Erd as clerk dispatcher with the Groseal Township Police Department, effective July 26, 2021. And Uda, I will start with you.
Aye.
Aye. Carl?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Jameson?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Welcome aboard on July 26, Ms. Erd. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Action item number 2 was deleted. So we have action item number 3. Joe?
Action item number 3, resolved by Groseal Township Board of Trustees to support the Restoration Advisory Board, the RAB.
Support.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe. A little history on that.
There are many residents of Groseal interested in the Army Corps environmental cleanup of the Groseal Navy base area. The RAB would be a conduit of information from the Army Corps to keep people updated on the progress of the remediation program. There are over 80 individuals who showed interest in belonging to the RAB. This resolution is for Township Board to show support not only creating the RAB, but assisting residents during the process.
Okay. Other comments, if any? This is something that's been floating around for a number of years. I know actually the first time it came out, I put my name in for it, and we just didn't get enough people to form the RAB, so it didn't go anywhere. But as Joe's stated, it's a conduit to allow people to know what's going on with the Corps of Engineers as far as cleaning up our area.
Jim, may I also add something?
Sure.
I just want to thank Bill Heil, did an excellent presentation in front of the Commerce Park Commission last meeting, and it was very helpful. And I also want to thank the Commerce Park, whereas they voted to support the RAB in any way they can. So I want to thank both of them for their work on this.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Other comments? Yes, Uda.
I would just say somewhere Ernie Horvath is smiling. Right?
Smiling. It was one of his babies. Anyone else?
I just have to say that
Bill, not you.
I know. I'm
Bill,
understanding.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying it's supporting what she's.
I'm sorry. I meant board members.
I know.
I get it, Bill.
Yeah. No other. We're not hearing any. Joe, I am going to ask you to read the resolution. It's not that long.
Yeah, that's fine. Whereas the Army Corps of Engineers creates the Restoration Advisory Board, RAB, for information.
What?
Is that my
Getting
background?
a lot of feedback there, Joe.
I only have one thing on. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know who else.
Okay, information to be given on the progress of the remediation program. And whereas the RAB consists of Groseal residents, and whereas the Airport Commerce Park Commission voted to support the RAB in any way they can, now therefore be it resolved the Groseal Township Board support the creation of the Restoration Advisory Board.
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
All right. So we have a motion resolved by the Groseal Township Board of Trustees to support the Restoration Advisory Board, known as the RAB. Mr. Nadeau.
Aye.
Mr. Bletcher.
Aye.
Mr. Yeager.
Aye.
Aye. Taking that as an aye. Mr. Jarecki.
Aye.
Ms. O'Connor.
Aye.
Mr. Porcelli.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Thank you.
So that passes. Thank you, Joe. Action item number 4 was deleted. So that brings us to action item number 5. Jameson?
Hey, hopefully you can hear me all right. The action item I proposed that became number 5 was a motion to return to 2 public meetings in the month of August and November, which presently only have 1 meeting in those months. And this was in response to significant public concern that they could not address us, not just that we did not address them. That it's a two-way street, and it's their opportunity to air grievances with us, and that is their right. So based on that request, I have made this motion.
All right, thank you. Comment? Uda?
Yeah, the board set the schedule up, as you know, at the beginning of the fiscal year. And just to explain, a lot of times we don't have the business to conduct to have those meetings. And as I recall, the purpose of our board meetings is to conduct business and not to disseminate, updates. Traditionally, August and November and sometimes December have had only 1 meeting because of the holiday schedule and because of the school schedules and not being able to get a quorum because families were out of town for either school holidays or Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I'm just explaining to the public really why those decisions were made when they were made. And just for instance, due to that schedule, I will not be available for a second meeting in August because I've already made plans to go see family in another state. If we were having Zoom meetings, I guess that wouldn't be a problem, but I wouldn't be able to attend in person. So one of the reasons we've set our schedule this way is to, one, accommodate the fact that we don't often have business to conduct in the summer months to justify 2 meetings. And secondly, because of the holiday schedules in November and December.
Thank you, Uda. Yes, and that seems to be a point that is lost. These meetings are the board's meetings, business meetings. The purpose of these meetings is to transact business. I am going to put in everybody's mailbox tomorrow. I just read, as luck would have it, an article from the MTA regarding board meetings, and they do a very nice job of explaining what the meaning of the board meetings are. They are to transact business. The history and what has gone into our scheduling of meetings, which, by the way, by law, we are only required to have 1 meeting every 3 months, and we have many more than that. The purpose is to transact business, not for discussion items. That's not the purpose of it. And I would, as far as getting a hold of us, I would say we have telephones, we have emails. The doors are open 5 days a week. You can watch the meetings as far as commission meetings to find out what's going on. There are, and I'm just saying there are other avenues as far as getting a hold of us. But the meetings are for transacting business, and transacting means doing something, something that's near an action item or an action item, not to start just a general discussion on a topic that affects us. That's what we do at the Township Hall, what we do in our commissions. So I think there's a little misunderstanding as to what our meetings are for. But again, it'll be what the board decides it'll be. We have, right now, I think, Jameson, you're right, we have 1 meeting in August Normally in November, because the second meeting usually falls on Thanksgiving week, we don't have normally don't have a second meeting that month. And of course, December, same thing with Christmas, we don't have a second meeting. So there is a reason behind it. Uda, before I call on you, is there somebody else? If not, Uda, go ahead.
Well, and I just wanted to, because you pointed out there are other avenues. We have several official avenues for getting out official township information. And as you all know, our communications administrator, Mr. Frill, operates the township website. We have a YouTube presence. We have a Facebook presence. All of these are official channels for official information from the township. Groups like Grosse-Ile Now are juried groups that you are invited to participate in, so they're not a public forum per se, and they are not organs for official township information. So if you want the official township information, obviously, as Jim pointed out, you can give us a call, email, or whatever, but you can also go to all the other sources that we've made available that are populated with this information.
Is there a compromise here? I mean, I know we've already set the schedule for.
I think we could compromise down to August. I think I'd accept a friendly amendment like that. I think what the people are saying, and there's a lot of logical arguments about this, but Congress doesn't go on recess in the middle of a crisis. It's bad leadership. And I think that's what the residents are saying. Like, you guys probably shouldn't be taking meetings off with this bridge problem, which many residents view as a crisis.
Yeah, but the bridge problem is not transacting business. It is not transacting business is not, we're not voting on anything for that bridge. There is no business. There's a lot of discussion that could be had, but not transacting business. So that'd be the difference.
And if I may, the information about bridge events, bridge meetings, etc., is disseminated when the supervisor pushes out letters, pushes out notifications. There are the groups that we talked about that meet where you actually can participate and have a say in the conversation about the bridge. Whereas at a township board meeting, with the exception
which meetings is that?
The meetings that Judy was talking about, I think it's also a CAG meeting, community action groups, those kind of activities. But again, our meetings, and again, I don't have an opposition of having a second meeting if there's business to conduct. But we make those decisions based on items that need to be transacted, not a public mood for, we could schedule special forums. And we've done that before, where we've had community events at the high school, for instance, when there was a potential for the International Bridge being built over Grosse-Ile. We organized.
Well, maybe we need to do that then.
So, those are.
Maybe that would satisfy.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that would satisfy the public concern then.
Yeah, we're not trying to not have conversations, but there are different opportunities available than just township board meetings to have these events with the public. And
Jameson, and for everybody, the fact that at the time that we set the meeting schedule, it certainly does not mean we cannot add another meeting, and it also doesn't mean we can not take another meeting away if there's no business. It has to be, it's based on the business to be done. And along the lines of those forums, when I was a trustee, Mr. Malvesto and I started doing Q&As for the very reason that we don't have a forum. This is not a forum for question and answer. our board meetings aren't that forum. So we did that. And I plan on, now that we can meet again, it appears, I plan on going back to those. They're unofficial meetings, but they're a place where people can ask a question and get an answer. And I certainly plan on starting that up again in the near future.
I think there's significant public appetite for that. Maybe that's why they're concerned about us not doing 2 meetings a month. So maybe Jim's correct. We could maybe do a friendly amendment, or I think we need to look at some other avenue of ensuring the distribution of information concerning this particular bridge issue, because I think that's what it stems from, to keep the public informed about it, or at least get them more informed about it than our press releases are doing. So,
well, you want to make
that's
sure.
That's all I have for this.
Yeah, Jameson, you just want to make sure on it, and this is the thing, you have to make sure that whatever you're saying, that you absolutely know that that is what the situation is. You don't want to be speculating to the public. I know in holding those meetings, I would always say, this is my opinion, or if I knew it to be fact, I said it to be fact, if I was present at a meeting or whatever. So you just have to make sure that because people do look at us when we talk as being talking for the board. And you have to be careful of that, whether you're talking for yourself or talking for the board and the township. So no, I think, and I think that's why those were so well received, those meetings, is because it did give them an outlet to ask questions and get answers. So, anybody else? Hearing none, we have a motion and Jameson, I'm going to have you repeat the motion, please, because I don't have it in front of me.
Sure. I hereby motion to return to 2 meetings a month in the months of August and November due to significant public concern, which presently only have 1 meeting scheduled for those months.
All right, thank you. And Jameson, we'll start with you.
Excuse me, Jim, I'm not sure I heard us.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did anybody second that? I thought I heard a second.
I'll second it if they didn't.
Thank you, Joe. We heard that one, so it has been seconded.
And I'll vote aye, Mr. Supervisor.
Aye for Jameson. David?
Nay.
A nay. Joe?
Aye.
An aye. Uda?
No.
No. Carl?
You're on mute, Carl.
Carl, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. No.
No. Mike?
Aye.
And I vote nay. So that does not pass. But as I said, I plan on starting my Q&As again since we can meet, and certainly other people can have the same type of informal meeting.
Yet again, the caution being that if you use your title or you use any kind of township related material, it can be construed as speaking for the township. So, and I'm not speaking to Jim per se, but to all of us, make sure that people know you're speaking for yourself and not for the board. And I think also the board itself, we can schedule, and maybe even work with other organizations on the island and through the schools even, have some of these larger public meetings now if those become possible and people actually feel safe to go.
If it's open, whoever shows up, shows up. That's what we can do. Jameson, I will have you do number 6, action item number 6.
All right, thank you. I hereby motion that we submit a letter to U.S. Congresswoman Dingell, U.S. Senators Stabenow and Peters, State Congressman Camilleri, and State Senator Chang requesting consideration in their upcoming infrastructure bills to completely repair or replace the Parkway Bridge. And I emailed a copy of the letter to
and I support
each one of the board members
action
on Friday. Sorry.
Thank you.
And I emailed a copy of the letter to the board members on Friday,
Yes.
and then corrected a typo on Sunday.
Yes. Hopefully everybody got that and read it. I support his motion. Discussion. Uda.
I just have a question, and it's the English teacher speaking. I think it would strengthen the letter if you added in there where the data came from on the costs of the tokens. So if, according to bridge tokens or estimated, crossings or whatever, but that we could supply where that data came from so that it doesn't look like it was pulled out of air. And I think that would strengthen, for the people reading the letter, why this is a hardship and that information is legitimate.
Okay.
I'd accept that amendment.
Okay, so that section will be rewritten. I think it's the third paragraph. Estimated cost to islanders is what you're talking about, Uda. Okay, we'll have Jameson. We'll work on so that'll be revised to indicate where the figures come from. At the bottom, Jameson, I would suggest that it'll be sent by the Groseal Board of Trustees. Just changing the title that you used on there. That's all. Instead of the representatives of Groseal, it's the Groseal Board of Trustees it will come from.
Yeah, and I think that makes the letter stronger too.
Yep.
It actually identifies the title of the board.
And just as an update to everybody, again, we have to realize this is not our bridge. Right. Thus, the money is never going to come to us. And believe me, we don't want the money. We don't want a bridge of our own simply because we could never afford to keep it up and run it. So we do want it to be Wayne County's. We are currently in discussion with Wayne County regarding this. I have Debbie Dingle's office coming in to see me, and possibly even Debbie, either next week or the week after. I forget off the top of my head. And this is one of the items that I'm going to chat with her about, or her staff. I've already put letters out to Senator Chang and our Representative Camilleri. I've talked to Joe Palmera, our Wayne County Commissioner, regarding this. So there's a lot being done already regarding this, but we do have to remember that the money isn't coming to us, and the state is not going to build the bridge. It's going to be up to. Is that Tim? It's going to be up to Wayne County, which they want to do, have discussed it, and are going to go forward with this. So it's a collaborative effort. I see nothing wrong with us doing this. It adds to the support and the need for a new bridge, which everybody agrees we need.
And Jameson, just also, I'm sure you've already thought of this, but work with Margie to put it on township letterhead so that it is an official document of the township.
I believe he's already done that. Okay. I mean, he's aware of that.
I figured as much, but I just thought I'd.
Yep. Other comments?
Right. That's why I put the township letterhead brackets up.
Yes, you did. And Margie will type this up for you when we get the body done correctly.
I got it.
What we want.
Yeah.
So, hearing no other comments, we have a motion, and again, Jameson, since I don't have it in front of me, excuse me, I'll have you reiterate the motion. If you would, please. You're freezing up.
Yes, sir. I hereby motion that we submit a letter in consideration their upcoming infrastructure bills to completely repair or replace the Parkway Bridge.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Jarecki.
Aye.
Mr. Porcerelli.
Aye.
Mr. Nadeau.
Aye.
Mr. Bletcher. Mr. Bletcher.
Mute.
Mr. Bletcher.
Still on mute.
It's an aye.
That's an aye? Shake your head yes for an aye. Thank you.
I think unmute.
Ms. O'Connor.
Aye.
Mr. Yeager.
Aye.
Thank you, and I vote aye also. So we will be putting a letter together, adjusting the letter that was discussed here and sending it to our various representatives. Thank you. And that, I believe, ends our action items for tonight. So we are at reports, and we'll start with the clerk's report. Ms. O'Connor, if you would, please.
Okay, well, not much to report today. The clerk's department is taking online applications for appointments for passports. So it looks like the world is starting to travel again and people will need their passports. You can get your new passport application through the township. I think renewals are best handled through the mail. Give Brian Friel or Elena a call. And that's about it. I'll keep it short tonight. Meeting's long enough.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. For the month of June, Groseal Township had a total of $15,028,000 invested in various accounts, which collectively generated interest income of $340 with an average interest rate of 0.02%. This information is available on the Groseal website at the treasurer's link. 2021 summer property tax bills have been mailed to all Groseal property owners, and these are due September 14th, 2021. If anybody has not received their tax bill, please contact the treasurer's office to ensure that we have proper mailing address and to request a copy of the tax bill. Eligible residents can apply for an extension of this summer tax bill due date until February 14th, 2022. Deferment applications are available online at the treasurer's website. Now, from the Community Recreation Commission, I have no report tonight, and our next meeting is August 5th. And from the DPS Commission, work is continuing on the water main project on Meridian Road. They're currently installing valves to keep the water connected. The actual pipe work, you should see work beginning within the next 2 weeks on that project. The Church Road replacement is probably about 95% complete, with primarily landscape restoration still to be done. And The next DPS meeting is tomorrow evening in person at Township Hall at 7 o'clock. And there will be a short presentation on 7:13, short presentation on the water main install, and the public is invited. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, David. Trustees reports, Jameson, you're first up.
Jameson, you're on mute, buddy.
Jameson, are you there? All right, I'm going to move on to Mr. Bletcher. We'll come back to Jameson.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I have the pleasure of sitting on Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission.
Sorry about that. My signal was.
All right. Jameson, are you ready? Are you ready, Jameson? All right, go ahead, Carl.
Go ahead, Carl.
As well as the Greenways Open Space. With respect to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory, we are proud to announce a bicycle safety class, $5 per person. All ages are welcome, and includes a bike light set to improve safety, particularly for dusk and at night. Class is going to be held on Saturday, July 24th at between 10 and 12. That is 10 a.m. to noon at the Macomb Commons. Kids, teens, and adults excited for biking need to know the rules of the road so they can ride safely when biking on Grosse Ile, learning the bike paths, the sidewalks, road safety during the class. Basic bike maintenance will also be introduced. Please wear your helmet for safety. We're also asking that you register online at grosseilerecreation.activityreg.com. So that's grosseilerecreation.activityreg.com. $5 per person. And it is a good program that is being put on by a member of the Michigan Bicycling Association. And that would be the League of Bicyclists, Scott Bendel, who is volunteering his time so that we can all ride safer and enjoy the bike paths. Additionally, Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission is going to be using money for the Ralph Wilson Grant for work on the bicycle pedestrian bridge across Frenchman's Creek. We had an initial meeting last week, a pre-bid meeting, and hopefully have a recommendation to the board for a successful bidder at our August meeting. I also have the pleasure of sitting on Greenways Open Space. The commission has accepted a request for access by the Department of Public Services to the Manchester Drain from East River to clear the debris that are clogging the drain and backing up water onto Manchester. We expect that project will be done later in the fall or early winter when the ground is hard and it is easier for the bidder to come in and clean out all of the logs and the debris and the deadfall that is causing some of the backup. We also have wood chips that have been dropped for Manchester on the Woods Trail. And again, when weather improves and the trail dries out, we expect to be able to spread those. We already have gravel and chips that have been placed at Ferry and Gage, but again, are waiting for the better weather so that we don't have to deal with all of the rains and making the trails a bog. The commission has also completed a 5-year long-term plan for trail policy, as well as develop procedures that are going to be recommended to the board for new trails or expansion of the existing trails. And that concludes my report for both BPAC and Greenways Open Space, but we're hoping we get plenty of people to attend the bicycle safety class. Please come on down, it's 2 hours, and we all stand and learn something and benefit from the experience and education from a professional. That concludes my reports.
Thank you, Carl. Jameson, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. I had some signal issues. So first of all, I'm on duty, so I apologize for my reduced camera use and my loud background noise. There is no ZBA meeting this month. I'm still concerned about the future of the McLeod Steel site, and I've been talking with some other local and regional leaders about establishing a regional coalition to advocate for the betterment of the riverfront communities. We've decided to do quarterly meetings, and we'll be getting together soon. And to address the concerned citizen about the damaged edge of the road alongside the right lane while exiting the toll bridge, I know we've had some success in getting it graded previously. I believe Derek spearheaded that. So maybe we can ask to have it graded again. And then finally, I did check the Riverview Land Preserve website, and it does show Grosse Ile as a supporter of the landfill expansion. So if we could get that corrected and tell a time that we could discuss it, that would be optimum.
That absolutely. If is it just on the front? Is it on the home page, Jameson? Is that the like front page of the land preserve, or where does it have that?
No, it says it is. Hold on, I've got it pulled up here. Downriverpartners.com, and if you go to the supporters page, it shows that we are.
It shows the
one
township.
of the supporters.
Okay, thank you. I will talk to Mayor Swift about that.
It says Grosse Ile Township.
Yeah, that shouldn't say that.
Okay.
Should not say that. And as far
as nothing further.
Okay, and just a quickie, since you brought it up about grading, I've been in discussions with Wayne County to get that graded on a regular basis. It can't be made an actual lane. Because of some utilities involved, but I was told that it's going to be graded on a regular basis, and I will follow up on that tomorrow. Thank you, Jameson. Mr. Jarecki.
Yes, since the police department really hasn't gotten its fair share of time tonight, I have to take a couple extra minutes, Jim.
Go ahead. I thought we had a lot of discussion.
Just kidding.
Go ahead, Mike.
Real brief. The water main installation continues on Meridian Road north of Grosse Ile Parkway, and the police department has asked all residents to be extra careful around the construction workers. Obviously, there's a lot going on. It's going to be continuing to go on for a while, so please be extra diligent in terms of care. Other thing is the police department has applied, is in the process of waiting to hear back from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to actually execute a fall deer call operation. This would be incremental to the winter call. And, you know, if the permits are granted, we could actually start making a dent in our deer population. You know, just based on some simple math, it takes about 300 deers to be called to actually start reducing the number. And that's just based on last year's survey that we conducted. So that's in process. We've had a little issue with the Sunrise Park. As you know, kayakers frequent that, and they're allowed to park their vehicles behind the museum. Some have decided to park their vehicles there as well as their tents. That's not part of the program, and so it's not a campground. So if you're island residents, please do not tent there or camp there. That's not program. It's just for parking during the day. So, and that is it for me.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Mr. Porcerelli, if you would, please.
I sit on the Airport Commerce Park Commission, and Mr. Duker, who is the airport manager, asked me to just advise you. I'm not sure if even the board is fully aware of this, but one of the runways had to be closed. Apparently an inspector came out. There are some issues. They're looking at it. It is the runway, and Mike, if I'm incorrect, if it's, I believe, number 1735, is that the one that runs Frenchman's Creek on the west side of the airport? So that runway is closed for now. If you have any other questions or concerns about it, please contact Mike Duker at the airport office. Also, the Pirates Cove construction project, they have not broken ground yet due to the fact that Wayne County, believe it or not, the permits haven't come in yet. Isn't that's something with Wayne County, isn't it? So anyway, that's it for the airport commission.
Thank you, Joe. Township Attorney. Tom, do you have anything for us?
I'm there. Okay.
All right.
I apologize. You know, I wasn't going to say anything tonight, but unfortunately, I believe there was some statements made about why the township is conducting Zoom meetings and restrictions by the state of Michigan. And I just want to be clear that the township is reviewing this on almost a daily basis, and to suggest that the township hasn't been updated and the appropriate information hasn't been reviewed is just completely inaccurate. So I'd like to go over a few things. So on December 23rd, 2020, there was an amendment to the state's Open Meetings Act. That amendment allowed virtual public meetings for any reason, but that provision expired on March 31st. Under that amendment, local governments and boards had to return to in-person meetings by April 1, unless a local official or governing body, which would include Wayne County, authorized by law, declares a state of emergency or state of disaster. My understanding was that 33 of the 49 Michigan counties put that type of state emergency into place. Wayne County was obviously one of those. They've amended their orders, and we've followed those regularly. Now, there has been quite a few very recent changes. A Michigan Department of Health and Human Services order dated June 1st removed the limitations on capacity limits for indoor gatherings. Additionally, just effective 22 days later, on June 17th, Elizabeth Hertel, who's the director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, issued a rescission of emergency orders that included gatherings and face mask order that had just been put in place on June 1st, 2021. The concern remains that for large meetings, the number of participants could exceed the venue's capacity. That creates concerns about safe and transparent public access to the meeting in conflict with the Open Meetings Act. That has been the issue that has been continually addressed, and part of the factors on why this meeting was a Zoom meeting. In furtherance of that concern, on June 14th, Carol Osterberry, the health officer of Wayne County, extended the local public health emergency epidemic order, which was originally put in place on March 20th, 2021 for COVID-19, pursuant to MCL 333.2453 of the Public Health Code for the state of Michigan. That order was issued after it was determined that it was necessary to continue to protect the public health from further transmission of COVID-19 within Wayne County. That went into effect on June 30th of this year and will remain in effect until December 31st, 2021, unless it's otherwise withdrawn or replaced. I hope that puts out there all of the information that the public needs to know about this situation, and nobody's confused by what's going on. We're monitoring this on a very regular basis. We have two concerns: the public safety with regard to COVID and compliance with the Open Meetings Act. We do not want to be, we don't want any residents to be in harm's way. And just as important, we don't want to violate the Open Meetings Act. So with the notice requirements for certain meetings, those are the reasons that this township decided to have this meeting via Zoom, and that's the information that's out there and available. These are obviously not my personal opinions. It's the law in the state of Michigan. Whether or not I agree with them really doesn't matter. Whether or not anybody else agrees with them really doesn't matter. The board has to continue to make decisions to protect the township, its residents, from health issues with COVID-19 and compliance with the Open Meetings Act. So hopefully that gives the public everything they need to know, rather than maybe some of the information that came out earlier.
And we'll continue to do that. We, you know, when we can safely go to in-person meetings, we're going to jump to it because, as it's been said before, I don't know that I assume some people like these Zoom meetings. I certainly don't. I'd much rather be in person. Thank you, Tom. Anything else? I guess you're done. Mr. Riem, Township Manager Report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I missed a few things throughout the meeting. My page was kind of chugging along there. I might be repeating some things, I'm not sure. But next week, we'll be holding interviews for the part-time DDA director. I am feverishly working with Mr. Thiel on the transition. Just to remind everyone, I'm finished at the end of August. And the township attorney is working on some ordinance reviews for possible updates related to the flood control ordinance as well as the commission ordinance. And our next meeting is August 9th. And that's it, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Riem. And expecting that this meeting was going to go long because of one of the action items, which was deleted. I didn't have a lot. As Dale mentioned, we are going to be interviewing for the DDA director's position, which is a part-time position. We will be doing that next week. As to the bridge, now that the work on the bridge has begun, we have agreed that we're not going to meet every week. I don't want to put out an update that says, hey, the work's going on, and that's it. So we're going to do it. In fact, we do have a meeting tomorrow. So there will be a bridge update then, but we're not necessarily going to have one the next week or the next week. We agreed that we would have one at least once a month and more often as need be. So that where we can actually report something is completed or whatever is going on that's of import. Just to say they're working on the bridge, that isn't much of an update, so we don't want to do that. As I just want to say that people, and I'm probably talking more to my board and commissions, because it applies to everybody that's part of the township that has issues come up. When an issue or an action item comes up, it's a vote by the board members for or against something, and that's all it is. And that's everybody's right to have their own view on you know how they feel about the issue based on whatever homework they've done on it. Hopefully they have done some homework on it, and they make the decision. And the idea that people get mad because you don't vote the way they'd like you to vote is I really ask those people to take a step back and think a little. There's nobody, I guarantee you, there's not one of the 7 of us on this board that ever does a vote that we don't think is right. Nobody sits there and plans to do the wrong thing. You may disagree with them. That doesn't make it wrong. So please keep that in mind. As I say, you know, we took action item number 2 off because a number of people wanted to discuss it further, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with discussing it further if because we do want everybody to be up to date with the information that is germane to the issue. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. And I pledged when I got elected that this was going to be a board of 7. And I am going to continue to do that regardless of how many people fight me on it. It's going to be a board of 7. Everybody's going to be welcome. Everybody's going to get a chance to say their piece. And there is nothing wrong with us disagreeing with each other. And that's all I have. So with that, public comment.
Jim, just one comment. I think it's a correction, actually.
Sure.
I think that meeting's on the 14th, the bridge meeting, not tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking it's Tuesday. You're absolutely, it's Wednesday, and Wednesday is the 14th. Is our bridge meeting with Wayne County and Mr. Palmera. Thank you, Mike. I don't know why I'm jumping ahead to Wednesday already. With that, we will open it to public comment. 3 minutes on action items that we acted on tonight.
Okay, I will start with Judy Mega.
Mute.
So,
Judy, you're on mute.
Sorry. On the action item that you voted on for returning to a meeting in August and December, I don't think anybody has a problem with you taking those times off. That's certainly understandable. My interpretation of what people were upset about online was that 2 meetings, if I'm correct, were canceled with very short notice because there was not a lot of township business. I think that's what people were upset about. I understand the purpose of these is to conduct business, but what they've what they've come to be known as, whether it's official or not, is a chance to see all of you together and to talk about things that are on people's minds. So if you didn't have a lot of business, if you were to merely hold a brief meeting where you just ran through an agenda with, that was little or nothing, and then gave people a chance to speak to you in the manner that they're used to, I think people would appreciate that. Or at the very least, commit to not canceling any meetings in the future. I know one of the Trenton City Council persons mentioned that they hold meetings whether they have action items or not. They just hold them because it's the public's time to make a comment. So that's all we would be looking for. But that's it. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Judy. And I think everybody understands what you're saying. Thank you for your comments.
Okay, do we have another public comment on agenda items? Greg, is that a hand raise or just a thumbs up down there? You're on mute.
Mr. Sabat has his hand up in case Greg is not.
Okay.
No,
Greg,
you're good, Greg.
Okay,
go ahead.
all right. Yeah, just to follow up on Judy's comments, I agree with her. I think that whether you consider it business or not, I think residents do consider and taxpayers consider updates from managers, updates from the trustees, the commissions, to be part of business, because it is the business of our tax dollars being used and the services being provided. So, and as far as the meetings go, I know the township attorney mentioned that he has some information that might be different than some of the things I've been told. He might want to talk with the city of Trenton, because this issue just came up at Trenton's last city council meeting, and there was quite a bit of discussion about what they're required to do now. And this also plays out into the Wayne County's upcoming meeting on the Riverview landfill. So there are some feelings that are different than his in terms of what local municipalities are required to do right now. But moving on to Jameson's note about the letter on the bridge, I would also add that, this isn't just about replacing and rebuilding in the future. I would put in there that you also want to look at funding for those 5 additional piers. And if we had a bridge engineer that would give us advice on what that means and what it means that they're not fixing those 5 piers right now, I think you'd find, if you did have expert advice, that there's a real reason to fix those piers.
Greg, they're going to fix them.
Well,
they're going to fix, Greg, that's been in discussion. They don't have the project laid out, but the idea is that they will be fixed.
Yeah, well, they've known about these problems for over 15 years. So, I mean, the problem is we just didn't understand the inspections and the condition of that bridge. But needless to say, I would like to know, where are we on the bridge engineer? How's that going? I know we had a RFP solicitation that was going to be put together. How's that going?
Mr. Jarecki, that was yours. How's it going?
You're muted, Mike.
Mike, you're on mute. You're muted.
I'm not writing it. It was assigned to Dale by you, according to Derek. So you tell me.
It was. I'm not following you, sir. I'll have to.
I inquired with Derek.
It was your project. That's why I.
Yeah. Well, I inquired with Derek, and he told me that he had provided a template.
Yeah, and so we have to check.
And that somehow that the assignment was given to Dale, I think, to do. My personal views is I think Derek probably has more experience with that because he's done it before for bridge.
So, yeah, well, so has Dale a number of times that over the years he puts those things up.
I don't.
But
that's my understanding of the status. It's in process.
One of the two give us an update right now.
I would say that, and I will check on that tomorrow.
Jim, can one of the two give us an update right now? They're both on.
Derek? Dale?
Yeah, I was able to get a template from a previous bridge engineering RFQ that I had put together. So I've got that to pass along to Dale or whomever ends up doing the job. We can use that to try not to recreate the wheel. So I'll have to talk with the supervisor as to what direction he wants to go with it.
Well, the direction is we want to get an RFP together to go out. That's my understanding of what was passed. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. Well, I'll follow up with you, Derek and Dale, tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Sabat, you're on mute.
John, you're muted.
You're still muted, John.
John, Mr. Sabat, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
I guess
there we go.
There you go.
There you go. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. I'm asking about the item number 2 is deleted. The process going forward. Is there a time and quantity on this? A study session, a closed session? Is it an open session for the public?
All has to be decided because we just decided not to do it today with this in mind. We hadn't had any, there was no indication of this. So yes, we have to sit down and decide what we're going to do.
There's no restrictions on having an open session, a public session to the citizens of Township, right?
There is no restrictions that I know of. Okay. We don't know how it's going to be handled yet. We have to talk about that, but no, it could be an open.
I want to talk about Mr. Karmazan's 5 pillars research. He's done a lot of committed work here and a lot of dedication to this, and thank you. I think we really need to address this because that bridge is taking a lot of stress, and that bridge needs to be looked at. Also, I just want to cover that we really need to go after fixing the toll bridge on the western side of it, on the Riverview side. And I would like to end my comments here by reading the letter from the Grosio Police Department February 2nd, 2021, which I have never seen until now. And I just want to read it so whoever's still on can hear it. To the Groseal Township Board of Trustees, with the retirement of Police Chief Mark Warnick at the end of 2020 for Chapter 67 of the Township Procedures, the Groseal Police Commission held interviews with the candidates, plural, selected by the commission as potentially qualified to serve as the previous chief's replacement. After both a rigorous interview process by experts on the Police Commission Board, I'm adding a few words, and the review of the many letters of recommendation received from numerous professional agencies and individuals, which we heard tonight, the commission was able to make an in-depth assessment of each of the candidates' overall experience, leadership abilities, past accomplishments, visions, and operating philosophies and the strategies for the Groseal Police Department going forward in the future. That's why the Police Commission was created by the Township Board. Based on this process, the Groseal Police Commission forwards the unanimous recommendation, not a split decision, but a unanimous, the Lieutenant Kenneth Pellin be appointed to the position of the Groseal Township Police Chief, not because not only does he deserve it, because the township needs him. We, the citizens of the Township of Groseal, need leadership, strong leadership. And he's got the key ingredients to make it happen. He has shown it over 23 to 25 years. Thank you all, and God bless you all. Remember, we're Americans.
Thank you, Mr. Sabat.
Okay, do we have any other public comment tonight?
Yeah, one more. Brian, you're the best.
Thanks, John.
See, he just comes up with that. That goes a long way with that guy.
I should have muted you, John. All right.
You don't need me. You got everything under control.
Tom Assorti.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm just concerned about the information that's being thrown out there during the public comments about the state of the law. I want to be very clear. I didn't give an opinion of what we should do or what we didn't do. I simply recited the Open Meetings Act, the Public Health Code, the current orders from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the current order from the Wayne County Public Health Code. If Mr. Carmenson has some other information that any of that information that I recited is inaccurate, I'd love to hear it. But my job has always been to advise the board. The board decides. I'm not making the decision about whether or not the meetings are going forward via Zoom. The board decides that. I do my job by supplying them with information. Maybe if he has some stuff that contradicts any of those orders or the state law, we could take a look at it. But I'm concerned that the public, by his comments, has some sort of understanding that we're not following a law with regard to the Open Meetings Act or the current health orders in some way. So I apologize for making a comment after a statement, but I want the public to be fully informed. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. I think you clarified it. Thank you. Ryan?
Hey, do we any other public comment tonight? With that, I say we're moving on.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
To what?
Adjourn.
Thank you. I believe, was that a support, Uda?
That was support, full support of adjourning.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Lively meeting, good discussions. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Tom?